come back there and clean it up. So that's looking pretty good. Okay, so to kind of answer the question, because we've had this a bit, and I'm sure we'll continue to get it. And as the update comes in, I'm sure we'll have some more questions as far as how this works. But I get a lot of setting questions. Now, this can change for a lot of different people, right? So we've got PlayStation and Xbox, all that good stuff. So just so you know, a lot of people have been asking me, like when I run, look, I can look to the left, I can look to the right while I'm moving forward. Say you can do this with PlayStation or Xbox. So I'm going to show you the settings I use for these. And then when the patch comes in, yeah, I mean, you can still use the settings I have now, but then what is currently not working but did work in the limited beta was the auto run, and not just like a toggle auto run, but I mean like when you run, you could then go into your inventory and shuffle around while your character is still moving like you can on the PC. Extremely useful. That way the auto run's going, you can look left and right, which is also extremely useful. It's it's a must, I say. So okay, so sensitivity settings, I again play around with it. If you find that this is rather twitchy for you when you start, I would recommend mine with the idea that you're going to make those adjustments as you play further. So let me just show you what I got so far. All right, so options, or is it control layout? Control layout? All right. So first things first. For the PlayStation, to swap this in and out is going to be the triangle button. You see it at the very bottom of my screen. It says swap special action. No action. I think the default is quick drop. For me personally, I find that's less useful, and so I see how many different types there are. Quick turn hold. It could be on a different build, but I personally, whoop, I got some frame freeze right here. I personally am going for head look hold. Left bumper on the Xbox, and that would be L1 for the PlayStation. Again, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4. That's how you do the head look or the alt look while you're running. All right. Swap action, which is Y on the Xbox, and it's triangle. See it at the very bottom there? And then you cycle through until it says head look, hold. And you're good, right? That's how you take care of the head look, like this. Very, very useful. And then when that auto run comes in, it's going to be even more useful. You will see. It helps get your periphery. Now, as my voice cracks, now, here's another setting. Again, personal preference. A lot of people kind of go ham with this. Your field of view when you start is 60. I'm going to show you what that looks like. It's not bad. It kind of helps you aim on things. You don't necessarily have to jack it all the way up. I'm a fan of keeping it roughly at 70-ish. 90 feels a lot like you're flying a Mini, even though the Minis aren't in yet. 70 is pretty good. And here's why. Here's the setting I've been using for a while. It kind of helps you aim at things because things aren't as small, right? Because things go to scale. Let me show you. Whoops. But here's what 90 looks like. It really feels like you're on the tip of a Mini. I mean, that's good for periphery. Like, watch, I'm going to walk around the base. You can really see around your corners, but you see how everything's kind of wrapping around like a fisheye lens? That's good and bad. It helps, again, pros and cons. Just, I want you to know, like, what you're getting if you do jack it up this high. You can see people coming, but if you have alt look and it's quick enough, you should be okay. Just remember, this all kind of sets your sensitivity kind of in its own arena. And again, if you're on Xbox Series X, wait for those improvements or that update coming in, because we are experiencing frame rate lag at the moment. Is that Odin outside? So it's not helping with our responsiveness. It's a known glitch for the frame rates, and I think it's affecting input lag too. It's slowly getting better, but again, we're waiting for that update. All right, so, and again, if you like it, by all means, go for it. All right, so the FOV, I'm going to put mine back to 70, just so you know what that is. Here's another thing that helps a lot. We took off screen effects, and obviously you take off depth of field too, but screen effects help a lot underwater. You don't necessarily have that blurred vision that happens underwater, and you can see things very clearly. And I think it will help with performance for the lower or the core systems, whether that be PlayStation or Xbox, just core. And then I know PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X, which are essentially equivalents, are having the best time right now as far as like really smooth gameplay. PS5 and the Xbox Series X should follow that shortly. I keep hitting up for crafting like a dum-dum. Okay, let me show you the controls. All right, so let me go up on this real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. All right. As far as, wait, did we get all the graphics? We did, didn't we? Depth of field, screen effects, turn that off. Brightness, I would do it from the source first before you adjust that, but it's not really going to improve your nighttime necessarily. Things are rendered in dark on purpose. Although since this is 2018 Rust, that could change. Oops, did not mean to do that. You can always set things back to default. Okay, so controls. Again, if you're having a hard time, I found it rather twitchy when I first started, so I set it to these. Now, am I going to adjust these? Yes. But I think this will give you a good baseline to kind of work from. And again, if you mess these up, it's X for defaults on the Xbox, and then that would be square on the PlayStation. All right, push to talk, I have that on toggle. Disable quick chat, that's personal preference. Walking input, I have on toggle. So pushing in your thumbstick, right thumbstick, and that would be R3 for the PlayStation. Auto sprint, which is currently broken, but hopefully by the time you're watching this, that patch comes through. That did work for the limited beta. That's what I'm talking about. That is so like game changing across the board. It's the outlook and the auto run or the auto sprint is the best. And what that means is you hold your thumbstick forward for, what do they say, a few seconds. I think it's like 2 or 3 seconds, and then it keeps running. So you could get into your inventory while you're running. Essential for anything, especially if you're trying to like run and heal. Huge, huge, huge. Crouch input I also have as toggle. These are all things I've set on the PC as well when we did those. Okay, so again, a lot of tweaking here. I believe the default is digital for this control type, camera control type. That's your sensitivity. I said analog acceleration. Sets a method for camera control which best suits your play style. Digital boost uniformly increase camera speed on large inputs, while analog acceleration gradually increases the camera sensitivity on a curve over an adjustable amount of time. All right, so camera sensitivity overall, that's when you're just moving around like this. Let me show you without using Outlook, like that. And then let's go back to the controls. I know this is kind of, it's a lot. Oops. It's a lot. Controls. So aiming. This is where you can speed this up and then slow this one down. So aiming would be this. So notice when I'm looking around like this, and then when I aim, it's slower. You do want that to be semi-slow. You want to find the sweet spot because this is your aiming. So what happens is if you're tracking a player, you would want to snap out, so not hold your left trigger, and then like get it on position, and then hold this trigger button. So again, play with it. You can use my settings until you figure it out. I know it sounds weird, but like aiming speed, and then not aiming speed. See how this one's faster? Hopefully nobody pukes, right? Ugh. And again, mine's a bit slow, but it might help from the default because it's a little crazy. Camera sensitivity while sprinting, and that's exactly what it sounds like. If you have your toggle sprint, that would be your right thumbstick push in and R3 for the PlayStation. Vertical sensitivity, I would highly recommend turning way down. I've heard 50 sounds pretty good. 65, 63 is pretty good for me. It just seems really obnoxiously high for some reason. Oh, there we go, 65. Camera inertia, how long the camera inertia applies to any camera movements after you release the input, allowing for smoother camera movement at the expense of overall accuracy. So smoothness, that would be like mouse smoothness. That one's, I believe I set that one the same. And these, if you do adjust these, do them uniformly or else you're going to be like out of your mind. So X would be left and right, Y would be up and down on your thumbstick more or less. Dead zones, if you do have drift, these are defaults. I have mine set at 24. So if you've got the thumbstick drift, which is plaguing all of us, just play around with that. Just know that's your baseline. So I would highly recommend turning down general sensitivity. Try the analog acceleration, just see what it feels like. And then play with it for like a good chunk of hours and see what's what for you. But there you go. That's how, that's my current setup, both FOV and my sensitivity, and you know, see what that is for you guys. And then by all means, be sure to drop in what you guys are using. And just so you know, if anybody's like, you gotta turn it up to 90, you don't have to. You don't have to. Just know, at expense of accuracy, you're definitely gonna suffer in that department. It makes things a bit smaller. So there you go. That's my settings. Everybody's been asking. says I can't even load up the game. Ooh, that's rough. Yeah, hopefully this patch really fixes that.